I asked you last time we sat down for an interview if you were going to pardon yourself. You said no. But now that President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, are you reconsidering? Might you pardon yourself?
I didn't do anything wrong.
All right, guys. So today, Trump did his interview with NBC News and Meet the Press. We'll obviously be talking about that in today's video. This is his first interview, if I'm not mistaken, since being elected president. But first, really quick announcement. I do want to say we will be going on Timcast IRL tomorrow night, right? That'll be on Tim Pool's YouTube channel. So be sure to tune in then. And by the way, make sure you're subscribed to this channel while you're at it. All right, with that said, so there's a lot to talk about in this interview. Obviously, a lot was discussed. Tariffs, deportations, healthcare even. But I do want to start with this exchange right here where this reporter, okay, so a lot of important things to be talking about, right? A lot of issues Trump's going to have to deal with for the next 4 years. Her kind of initial thought is to go backwards in time to ask Trump, well, will you now concede the 2020 election? It's like, this is over, right? Trump won in 2024. It doesn't matter anymore. You can't call him an election denier considering he won the election. And they're still going back on this. It's so funny to see. But also listen to Trump's answer because I thought this was awesome. All right, take a listen.
About it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No.
No. We love to see it. No. Shut up. No, I will not. She's like, please, Mr. President, for the sake of unity, will you concede? Will you just move on from this? By the way, who's not moving on from this is you, okay? It's over now. It's done. You guys lost. You're not in campaign mode. But I love that response, okay? That's like Giga Chat right there. No, I will not. Love to see it.
No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president. I'm not. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me, he went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing more to say. That's what's divided this country, not the fact that Trump didn't concede the 2020 election. And you know how I know that? You know how I know Americans don't care? Because despite all of this bluster about democracy and you have to accept the results, guess what? Trump won. He came back and won. So it's that simple.
If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you say
didn't they
Democrats have control now
of the White House?
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
So you won't.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Trump is back. Well, honestly, he never left, but he gets elected. Still the same guy. We love to see it.
Too big to rig.
To the people who say that you're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020, and they want to move on.
Very capable. I think Pam is going to be great.
Precious resources.
By the way,
is that what you want them to do?
Just so you know, I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh, you're not. You're not going to do that.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
I have the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
Boom, there you go. Maybe you should have asked about that. I mean, in fairness, she does ask about that other points in this interview, but they're still obsessed with this. I don't understand. You know, it's like, if anything, I think it's the right who should now look at 2020 and say, oh, well, where did some of those votes go? You know, there's legitimate questions about that. But instead, no, it's them that's still obsessed. You won't concede 2020. All right, we won this time. What do you want us to say? Move on. How about you guys move on from it? Now, with that said, in all fairness, I do think national unity is important. And Trump was asked about this very question, and listen to what he had to say about what the focus of his inauguration address is going to be.
I'm going to ask you, sir, one final question. What do you want to say to Americans who didn't support you in this campaign?
I'm going to treat you every bit as well as I have treated the greatest MAGA supporters. There's never been anything like MAGA in the history of this country. These people are so dedicated to making America great again. It's very simple. And I'm going to treat them just the same as I treat MAGA. We're going to treat everybody good. We want success for our country. We want safety for our country. You know, our country's under threat, as you know.
Yeah, so there you have it. And really, I think that's the best thing you can say to these bitter, angry liberals. And he's been saying it for years. Success will unite us, okay? You could probably see in the 2024 election that a lack of success in many ways also united us, because what happened? The American people, many of whom did not vote for Trump in 2020, did not vote for Trump in 2016, came around to him this time. Why? Because they kind of saw that, oh, we need this guy in office in order to survive, much less prosper. And I think on the flip side, something I said to all the liberals who were so mad about the 2024 election, it's like, guys, look, ultimately, even though you don't want it, even though figuratively speaking, it's like you have to be dragged kicking and screaming to a better tomorrow, you're still going to get that better tomorrow, right? Harry Sisson, for instance, you know, all that money, that dark money that's being funneled to you from certain Democrat institutions. Guess what, buddy? You get the tax cut too. Okay, everyone is happy. Everyone gets to enjoy the prosperity, even if they don't deserve it. Okay, Trump's a better man than the people give him credit for, right? That's just the truth. All right, a lot of policy was talked about. We don't have time to get to all of it in today's video because I got to catch a flight to go to, the Timcast show. But really quickly, I do want to address this one question about birthright citizenship because Trump said he's going to end it. This is essentially the way that the anchor baby thing is abused with illegal immigrants, right? People come here either on a tourist visa or they're just straight up in the country illegally. They have a kid in this country, they give birth, and then now it's impossible to deport them because their children are citizens. Trump's been saying for a long time he's going to end this. Liberals are saying it's unconstitutional. We're going to address it. Firstly, here's what he had to say.
Let me ask you about some of your other promises on this topic. You've promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
First of all, that's not what the 14th Amendment says. We'll get into that later in a little bit. But just to be clear, that is not what it says.
We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it. If somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need to, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive action?
Well, if we can, through executive action.
Okay, so now obviously you can imagine all of the Democrats are saying this is a abuse of the 14th Amendment. This is unconstitutional, which is why I would like to bring up, okay, and I've brought up this Heritage Foundation article before. You should go read it. Send it to your liberal friends if you ever get into this argument. It's called Birthright Citizenship, a fundamental misunderstanding of the 14th Amendment. And I love this article because it lays out a lot of the historical precedent to why, when you really break it down and look into it, birthright citizenship should not and never historically was supposed to apply to the children of illegal immigrants or foreign nationals. And getting into this right here, just as a couple of examples of this, the amendment's language was derived from the 1866 Civil Rights Act, which provided that all persons born in the United States and not subject to any foreign power, jurisdiction thereof, that's important to remember, would be considered citizens. So this is to say, yes, if you're in this country and, your parents are citizens and whatever, then obviously you get citizenship. But if you are a foreign national who's just in America to visit or you're here illegally, no, the birthright citizenship was never supposed to apply to your children. How do we know that? Because the people who wrote the 14th Amendment literally said this. For instance, Senator Lyman Trumbull, a key figure in the adoption of the 14th Amendment, said that, quote, subject to the jurisdiction of the U.S. included not owing any allegiance to any other country. Isn't that interesting? Well, if you're here again as a foreign national, as an illegal immigrant, your allegiance is not to the United States, right? Your jurisdiction is not of the United States. It is of the home country you came from. Here's more, guys. In the famous slaughterhouse cases of 1872, the Supreme Court stated that this qualifying phrase was, quote, to exclude children of ministers, consuls, and citizens or subjects of foreign states born within the U.S. This was confirmed in 1884 in another case, Elk versus Wilkins. when citizenship was denied to an American Indian because he, quote, owed immediate allegiance to his tribe and not to the United States. American Indians and their children did not become citizens until Congress passed the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924. There would have been no need to pass such legislation if the 14th Amendment extended citizenship to every person born in America, no matter what the circumstances of their birth and no matter what their parents are. Even in U.S. versus Wong Kim Ark, the 1898 case most often cited by birthright supporters due to its overbroad language, the court held that only a child born of lawful permanent residence was a citizen, aka not people here on a tourist visa, they're not permanent residents, aka also not illegal immigrants. That is a far cry from saying that the child born of individuals who are here illegally must be considered a U.S. citizen. So you may need, I'm sure, another Supreme Court ruling to confirm this. We have a conservative Supreme Court. I'd be happy to put the case in front of them, but let's just make that clear because I saw a lot of liberals going crazy about this today. The 14th Amendment was never supposed to apply in this way. It's been arbitrarily and illegally abused for many decades. All we're saying is you got to put it back to what it was originally supposed to mean. That's not unconstitutional. Again, read the language of the people who wrote the amendment. Read the early Supreme Court doctrine on this. I mean, it's pretty actually clear cut. So there you have it, guys. We'll probably talk more about this Meet the Press interview if more comes up, but I got to catch a flight. So with that said, be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.